market just to smack them around. And it's like they need an audience for that. And you say to them, what are you doing to your kid? You're smacking him around. And you hear, well, that's the only language they understand. Well, what a language is that? I know that language when I was in France, speaking French. I got smacked around. But that's not fun, being smacked around. But I'm an adult and I can take it, being smacked around occasionally, not too often. But what becomes of beaten down children? Ones who cannot speak for themselves and who dare not tell even anyone about their pain and cannot even imagine a happy life growing up. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, I heard about a little girl named Betsy who was a dwarf. And when she was little and young, it wasn't such a problem because all of her friends were little too. But when they all grew up, she was stuck, small. And when she went to parties, she couldn't reach the table. And she couldn't reach the punch bowl. And she was forced to sit in chairs where her feet could not touch the ground. And then I thought about what it means to live a life like that. And then I heard about her sister who could not sleep at night because she couldn't breathe in the dark. And the room was filled with dark fog. And there was a creature in the dark. And she felt anger and she was afraid. But when she would open her mouth to scream, she could only feel the fog. She could not feel her own breath. And then one day, she felt something warm. And it was her own breath. And she felt the power. And she felt more of her breath, pushing stronger and stronger and stronger, until finally her breath took away the fog, and the darkness was gone, and she was surrounded by the light. And that was her, just before her darkest hour, she had learned to breathe and to push away the dark fog. And just when the light surrounded her, she received a letter. And the letter spoke of an inheritance. And she was so puzzled because she and Betsy were orphans, all alone in the world. And in the letter, she discovered the size of her inheritance was so great indeed. And neither of them could remember ever saving. And they didn't know what treasures they had saved. But adults sometimes forget. They forget about the small and wonderful things they did as a child. All the little pennies and all the little nickels and all the wonderful things that an innocent child can possess and can express. And the old woman up the street, she saved their little pennies for them, all the little nickels, and she remembered every wonderful thing about their innocent childhood, and she invested them for them. And they multiplied by millions and millions and millions, so that one day she'd return their savings to them. And though your dreams may be in darkness, the darkness is not you. There are those who save your treasures for you. And at the end of your journey, you will know the light. And you will remember all the small and wonderful things you did as a child. What magic an innocent child can possess and can express. All the little pennies and all the little nickels. And aren't young children wonderful? So now, I dream of one day having grandchildren. Wonderful, precious bundles of joy that this future grandmother could spoil and then hand back to her sons. But wait, my sons aren't married. What is wrong with the young people these days? They're not getting married. It's like they look at marriage as an adventure, like going off to war. Oh, it is war. And so, in closing, I dream about a day when I can finally have grandchildren, and I can be the old lady up the street who saves their little pennies and their little nickels and returns their treasures to them. But I hope it won't be too long, because we could both end up being too much alike. Sitting there, drooling.